Hello and welcome to the Tea Party Howdy channel for a review of Disney's Raya and the Last Dragon. If you are one of the lucky ones who have still not seen it, you are envied by nearly all who have seen it. Not because they want to savor the taste all over again, but they can't figure out how to get that taste ever out of their mouth again. The first thing you notice when the movie starts is its nearly borrowed voiceover narration straight out of Mad Max. Except Mad Max was for teenagers, who have a far larger vocabulary than do children. The big words in this screed don't allow for learning growth because most parents don't want to try and explain words like dystopia to their children. Before we get into the technical issues of the movie, let's put out there the reason this movie is so awful. It's the dialogue. The script is not garbage because garbage comes from useful things that are no longer useful, and the script was never useful. It's dribble, and still, that is insulting to those who do dribble. Time and again the characters say things that make you facepalm so hard many are bound to need a cranial x-ray to check for permanent damage. Honestly, if you watch the movie without sound, you might enjoy it for the scenery. It turns out there were many times after the first 8 minutes we were considering doing just that. And since it was streamed, we looked to see how long we had been enduring this film, and the time counter was just over 8 minutes. Then the slide bar showed there was well over an hour left. Could we make it? Should we make it? Would it be worth it? Now is when the viewers turn totally irrational and turn to their inner faith. Not the good kind from God, but the hopeful kind based on the huge library of Disney films that were either brilliant or at worst, okay, with the hope that this film would grow into one of those. As has been revealed, God is not dead, but hope that this film would join the pantheon of Disney greats is. So too, its hope to be even among the mediocre films. No, this one is the corrosive element that burns through the bottom of the barrel. Now, about the good. Kind of. Much of the visuals are Disney perfect and overwhelmingly beautiful. The film does switch between 2D animation and 3D animation a few times, and each time it delivers an eye fest. The characters, however, looked a lot like Ken and Barbie from Toy Story. They truly look like plastic dolls, especially Raya's father. Or as the movie put it, single father. Facepalm. Ugh. Now to the plot. The film starts out thinking it is Mad Max in a wasteland, with Max, again, being turned into a female character. But this is Disney, so don't apply gendered pronouns, we guess. The main character, Raya... Hey, wait a minute. Wasn't Disney Star Wars led by a Mad Max female named Rey already? Yeah, we know. Shut up. You weren't supposed to be intelligent enough to figure that out, according to Disney. So anyway, Raya, who looks slightly Chinese, unlike the rest of the cast who look much more Chinese, has that plastic doll skin going on, and whose appearance is hauntingly similar to Moana, Elsa, and the other recent princesses. So, if we're going to praise the artwork, the first thing definitely comes from the bland character visual style. The land Raya is from is a fictional world that oddly looks like a dragon, and it used to be filled with dragons too. The names of the realms in this land are body parts of a dragon, like heart and tail, which, luckily for us, we only found out the names of the realms and not the names of the villages, which might have been as repulsive as the script if they carried that out to the micro level after the associated body parts, and that could become very unchild-friendly real quick. Raya flashes back to her childhood and remembers when she met another princess from a neighboring land. This was during her father's call to the other realms for a meeting to reunite the country and bring peace and trust back to the land. While the grown-ups are fighting over inane issues at the meeting, Raya runs to play with another dragon-loving nerd, who, thanks to Disney, has half her head shaved, with the other half as a comb-over, a look that keeps cropping up in comics that are for the woke crowd. These two young princesses' conversation is where you look at the clock again and start to wonder if your additional 5 minutes you gave the film past the 8 minutes mark was worth it. And the rational self screams, no, 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 run while you still can, while the irrational part says, this is Disney. They made Dumbo, Peter Pan, Aristocats, and more. Then the rational self butts in with, yes, they did, and now they have blacklisted them with adult warnings. But the irrational self wins out to hope based on past experience. The leaders all argue, and the country remains split. The only hope is for dragons to somehow come back and put away all the strife, but the dragons and many people in the realms have all been turned to stone or ash by a certifiably 2021 creature that offends no race or gender, and is thus, we are given this completely uncompelling swirling cloud of voiceless, faceless villain who is scary. Shortly, Raya magically, accidentally brings back a dragon who is competing for worse dialogue than the other characters, and fights harder using annoying inflections to possibly win in this film, but hands down wins the most annoying Disney character ever created who's supposed to be a good guy. The rest of the film is more feminist fight scenes, social justice warrior hairstyles, men shoved far to the background in all scenes, most especially the fight scenes, and no one in the whole film has a love interest. Really, no one. How they populate in this fantasy land without love interest is not explained. A movie that talks about the need to rebuild trust, but has no loving couples? No wonder they fail. As for the behind-the-scenes issues, obviously this film is over-the-top woke. It's Disney and it's 2021. Walt Disney is now long dead, and the current employees of the company use every chance they can to make sure he remains deeply buried at Forest Lawn, Glendale, over by the cabin near the entrance, alongside the hedges, and not frozen underneath Disneyland. The so-called racist things that Disney keeps hitting us all over the head with lately of, it was wrong then, it's wrong now, permeate this film. But like all good lefties, they are excused for it in the here and now. But like all good lefties are learning, now soon becomes yesterday. And then the axes swing with precision. Besides the Chinese-looking characters, with California slang coming out of their mouths, you know, cultural appropriation at every level, there are two dogs that wear Chinese hats that will remind any viewer of the band scenes from Lady and the Tramp with the Siamese cats. If they've seen that part at least. It was wrong then, it is wrong now. Is it really? Was it really? As for the social justice warrior haircuts that are showing up in the comic books and now Disney films too, they are so distinct to that group, they might as well be mustaches that are the size of Charlie Chaplin, Oliver Hardy, and that German fellows. You want branding? Those haircuts offer it up. The casting was for an animated film that takes place in a completely fictional world where everyone oddly looks only Chinese and is absent the constantly promised diversity. Was not just on the screen, but the actors too. The people they hired to do the voices, nearly every voice and absolutely every lead character is voiced by someone with an Asian last name. Sorry letters must have been sent out to all of the actors who changed their name or had a non-Asian father, because none of them made the cut. As many know, films before the woke era, going back to the mid-1960s, were actually filled with mixed appearances, like in Disney's Atlantis as one example, or so many other films. But not this one. No, this cast could be straight out of Mulan, and in fact some were. You see, Disney has shown us they don't want actors who can become new people and new characters. They want documentary-styled productions where everyone on screen is authentic. And authentic is the opposite of acting. It's a pure miracle C-3PO and R2-D2 weren't recast and replaced with toasters and microwave ovens. From awful dialogue to racist hiring and a fictional land with only Chinese-looking folk, Raya and the Annoying Dragon is the feminist film of woke politics you have been waiting for. It's all there. No story, no character development, great visuals that show plastic characters looking as plastic as their personalities, and a brilliant music score. What more could you want from a modern Disney film besides the warning, "It was wrong then, and it's wrong now," to be applied shortly? When films are made with 5 to 11 or more writers, the witches spoil the brew time and again. All that faith in Disney that pushed you from the first 8 minutes to the final credit, where Burbank takes credit for the production, was as shot down as the once coveted Burbank School District being now as woke as the Disney company itself. It's probably a good thing Walt is in Glendale's Forest Lawn and not across the street from the studio on Hollywood Hills Forest Lawn. To those who have not seen the film, please feel free to remind us all who have what it feels like to not have this scar on our soul we must now carry from this film. It was wrong then, and it's wrong now. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the future.